Hi YouTube, and this is JTrain997, and I'm back this time with my review of the Toys R Us exclusive G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra G.I. Joe buy pack. Now, of course, I'll be reviewing both the Joe and the Cobra Toys R Us pack. And this pack comes with Dialtone, as you can see over here. She comes with a laptop rifle. And there's another rifle right here, which I'm not sure is supposed to go with her or him. Law and Order, as you can see there, who comes with a riot shield, a baton, of course, his dog, Order, a handgun, helmet. Over here you have Zartan, which unfortunately looks like it's just a straight-up repackage of the previous Zartan. Really disappointing seeing as the Infiltration Duke looks like a new figure, or at least uses new parts. Footloose, who comes with the gun and his helmet, and Repeater, who comes with a machine gun and a belt of bullets. So, of course, there, Zartan on the side. I don't really think I'm going to have time to read all these file cards, so I'll type them on the side. So, that being said, I'm looking forward to all these figures. So maybe Zartan, little figure he'll just be the same guy. But let's pull these bad boys out of packaging. Okay, and first up here we have Dialtone. Let's get a quick 360 of her. Dialtone, of course, showed up in the Rise of Cobra video game. A lot of people were kind of pissed off because the original Dialtone was a guy. But if you look in the video game file cards, which are just little character bios, it actually says that Dialtone had a brother also under the same code name, and when he disappeared, she joined. So she's actually not replacing that character, she's just a new addition to that character. Which is fine for me because I think the G.I. Joe team could always use more girls. Now onto her as a figure. She's actually pretty close to CoverGirl. She's got pretty much the same body. Of course her laptop and her rifle. Now one thing I noticed when pulling her out of the package, which was disappointing because she's actually one of the ones I wanted most. Her body is extremely flimsy. It feels very poorly put together. All the joints are unreasonably loose with the exception of the knee and elbow. And that was, well, the arms aren't too bad, but the legs and the main torso are just way too loose. That's not saying too much, seeing as, you've seen you can obviously get it in a decent pose, but I still wanted a little more, I don't know, I just wanted the figure to be a little more solid. Overall, she's still not a disappointing figure, but I expected a little bit more. Next up we have Law and Order. Now, I have his riot shield in his hand. Let's pull that out. The riot shield fits surprisingly well into his hand. There's also a lot of nice detail, like it's been in a bit of a fight. Of course, not so much on the back there. But overall, works really nicely. Of course, Order, it's a little disappointing because if you move his arm slightly up, the leash isn't going to really stay in his hand. It's unlike the other dogs, and it's just kind of a plastic strap, and you just kind of fit it in his hand. And you see if you have it at the wrong angle, his legs might come off the ground. That's a little disappointing, but still not terrible. Of course, it's a nice mold. It's reused, of course. Now, he comes also with his helmet, which I've said before, this also came with the Pitt Trooper. I don't like these helmets. The visor's way too big. Of course, you can just pop the visor off, and the helmet looks a little bit better, which I think is what I'm going to have him doing. But either way, not a big deal. Of course, he has a pistol in his belt, non-removable. His articulation, he's actually a bit stiff in his arms and his elbows. Of course, his legs are a little hindered the way his jacket comes down, but not all that much. Knees move fine. Of course, the ankle joint is fine. And he also comes with his baton, which let's pop that in his hand really quick. Boom. Fits very nicely. Pulling that out, and his rifle, of course there, popping that in, works very nicely. So overall, Law and Order was a nice addition to the set. I thought they could have done some minor things to improve it, but overall, it's still a great figure. And here we have Zartan in full gear. Let's get a quick 360 of him. Of course, he has his backpack with his alternate head in there. And I really wanted everybody to get an appreciation for how little they did between this Zartan and the original, so ta-da. The only thing even slightly noticeable is that they took his gun and they gave him the repainted Desert Viper gun, which means the blade is now silver, which is an improvement. So yeah, there's pretty much no difference even in the alternate head, which, speak of the devil, let's pull that out. Oop. Gonna have to pull this off real quick. Of course, it's the same detail in the backpack, so can't seem to get it open though. Ah, there we go. Of course, you get a quick look at that. course, there's no specific way to pull the head on and off. You just pop one off, pop one on. Kind of strange seeing how Zartan, even in the camouflage outfit, looks exactly like the standard Zartan in the movie. So, I actually am kind of glad he's in this desert outfit, because now I have someone to lead my desert vipers. So, of course, with the little jacket coming down, hinders his legs ever so slightly, but still some pretty free movement. Bends fine at the knees. Arm articulation is actually pretty standard. So, overall, disappointing we didn't get a very much variation between the first Zartan and this one. Just another paint job, but I can appreciate the fact that now I have a desert-themed Zartan to lead my desert vipers, who are all coming with a dreadnought gun anyway. And overall, the Zartan figure was solid, so not too bad getting another one of these. So, moving on. Okay, next up we have Footloose. Let's get a quick 360 of this bad boy. He comes with the same helmet, almost, where Laws had a military police logo on the top. His just has the standard G.I.Joe symbol. Oops. Okay, so let's leave that off. Of course, I have him holding a handgun and his assault rifle. Standard stuff. He's, of course, wearing a vest similar to some of the other figures from the Rise of Cobra line. It doesn't really do much to hinder articulation, and it still manages to look nice. That's a good touch, but you can see here it's already popping off just a little bit. So put that back on. Definitely some free-moving arms. I think this is a great... I think this figure has some great articulation. Same with the legs. The legs may be a tad bit too loose, but... either way, the articulation of this figure is great. The detail is great. I think this is a solid addition. Now, not too much to say about this guy, but he is a solid figure. So, moving on to the final one in the wave, which is Repeater. Now, Repeater, let's get a quick 360, has some very subtle differences between him and figures like him. His gun, let's pull this out really quick. While heavy duties or roadblocks would have just the bullet, a place for the bullets to clip in, you can actually kind of pull these through and have the bullets coming out the other side there. He actually holds the gun surprisingly well. I thought he wouldn't, but I was surprised on that one. His hat does not stay on his head at all. Try as you might. You can see I just tried to jam it down and he flew off his base. This hat's not going to stay on. Well, hey. Maybe, nope. I guess it was just kind of clinging there for a second. No, it looks like actually if you just kind of jam it down on there, I don't know if it's catching on something or what, but it's staying on. Arms are kind of irritating. Once again, it seems like these have that same audible click, click, click that goes along with ratchet joints while the other figures don't. Very stiff in the elbows. There we go. Not so much on the left arm, but right elbow is giving me a lot of trouble. Wrist joint. Free moving legs. Really no problem there. So, I was actually pretty impressed with Repeater, seeing as he has such a large weapon, and the Rise of Cobra line has had some difficulty giving their figures things like that. Not really sure what's up with that hat. Sometimes it will stay on, but even with the slightest touch, it'll fly off, so... his legs keep wanting to buckle whenever I put pressure on him on his base. So maybe his legs are a little too loose. I don't know. So, that being said, let's move on to all of these guys as a whole. Okay, so here we have the set all together. I have to say, I really didn't have any figure I was really disappointed with in this set. It seems like after I finish messing with Repeater, every time I put pressure down on him, his knees buckle and he goes flying off the base. That's a little disappointing. I'm a little upset that Zartan didn't come with anything different, but at the same time, hey, at least he's in a desert camo paint job now and he can lead my desert vipers. That's also something I wanted to talk about. Everybody kind of comes with this brown desert camouflage. I would have much rather each one of these guys been in their standard blue pit gear, much like Zartan here in his g.i.joe infiltration gear. Other than that, it's just because they're going to kind of stick out a little bit when we've gotten other figures issued in the blue pit camo. It's not a huge deal for me, but it is a little gripe I have. So overall, this set's $20. Even with the slight increase in price, Toys R Us is still one of the stores charging about $8 a pop. That makes this set a great deal. It's really nice for this set because we get so many different G.I. Joes that probably won't get a single figure. So, this is J Train 997. Every figure in this set is great. Had some minor gripes with Repeater, a little bit with Zartan. But overall, I highly recommend this set. It gets a 9.5 out of 10 for me, and I'll see you soon, YouTube.